if you are completely new to Pilates, grab a cup of tea and give yourself 5 minutes and just watch this video. You are going to need a little thin Pilates cushion or a folded up towel. So we're going to start off in the rest position. So little pillow behind your head so that your head is supported. Feet are in line with your hips and your knees. Your knees aren't dropping out the side and they're not knocking in together. So our feet are on the floor, our pelvis is resting comfortably, the rib cage is resting comfortably, the shoulders are nice and relaxed, and the back of the head is supported. We're going to just reach our fingertips towards our toes, and we're just going to allow ourselves to settle. So just become aware of your rib cage at the back and just allow that just to settle and broaden. And if you take a nice breath in, and then as you breathe out, just allow the back of the ribs just to settle down onto the floor. Allow your collarbones just to stretch away from each other, and by doing that you'll actually feel that your shoulder blades are just connecting into your rib cage. Relax your jaw and lengthen the back of the neck. So make sure that you're not tucking your chin up towards the sky, that you're just letting your chin relax back towards your throat. And then you're going to make a diamond shape with your hands, and you're just going to allow the thumbs just to rest at the belly button, maybe just below the belly button. And then the fingertips are just going to head down towards the pubic bone. And the outsides of the hands are just going to rest over those nice bony parts of your pelvis. And then you're just going to allow your pelvis to rock back and to rock forward, okay? So I'm tucking my tail under, and then I'm creating a little bit of a hollow here. Okay, and you can just go forwards and backwards a couple of times and then just rest in the middle of that, which generally should be that your thumbs and the points of your forefingers are in a flat position, so they're not tucking back and they're not tucking forwards. And the reason that we do that is that we get our pelvis into a nice neutral position. Now if you find that your back's very, very arched or very, very flat, what it does is it just allows you to get into a much more healthy position where you can use your core muscles much more easily. And it just starts to get your back and your pelvis into a better position for you, which will help to avoid any aches and pains at a later date. Where are these muscles that we want to work on? So we've got our diaphragm that sits just below the rib cage. Then we've got our tummy muscles, and down here below the belly button we've got a muscle called the transversus abdominis, and it's a really, really deep muscle. And you'll hear Pilates teachers talk about the TA a lot. That's the transversus abdominis, and that's the area that we want to be thinking about. So I'm just going to sit up and show you for a second. So my belly button's here, my pelvis is here. It's this area here. So we've got the bony points here. And the muscles just we just want to be feeling this area here firming. We think about the pelvic floor as just at the top of our thigh. So I would call that the undercarriage. Then the transversus abdominis just sits above that. So we're going to find 2 ways of activating this muscle. And it's really, really simple. Don't get yourself too really concerned about it. But you do want to know where to feel it, because we want this muscle to become nice and strong. So we're not looking for a 100% contraction. We're just looking for about a 30% contraction, because it's a muscle that has a lot of endurance. So it's thinking more long term as opposed to one powerful force. Okay, so back down. Nice rest position. Check my neutral position. And to find this muscle, you can think about these bony bits here, and you can just let your fingers just relax over them. So your fingers are aiming towards each other. And you can just imagine that the lower tummy muscles are just firming and toning in towards your spine. So they're just flattening slightly. Almost like you're pulling your lower tummy away from your waistband. That's one way to think about it. And so we're going to breathe in and breathe out. Activate these tummy muscles, so taking the tummy muscles away from your waistband, and then breathing in and breathing out comfortably. And we only want these muscles just to be working just a little bit, so just a little sense of toning. And so I've been talking for a while now. Just let those muscles go and relax. If we want to think about using the pelvic floor for these muscles, We think about the pelvic floor just lifting up. And as they lift up, these muscles automatically kick in. So if you're not quite sure about feeling this area here because you think, oh, I don't know if I'm feeling the right thing, let's talk about the pelvic floor so you can come at it from another angle. The pelvic floor muscles are the muscles that whenever you're desperate to pass water or go to the toilet and you're holding on, so you're lifting up from down below. Okay, so I'm going to sit up again. So as we lift up and hold on, naturally these tummy muscles here firm, okay? So you're still going to have your fingertips just resting towards each other, just over the bony parts. But this time you're just going to imagine that feeling of holding on. And you should be able to feel a little bit of firming underneath your fingertips, okay? So we'll go back into the rest position. Neutral pelvis, get into that. And then I think about my fingertips just aiming towards each other, just resting over the bony part of the pelvis. And I just lift up through my pelvic floor. I can feel that firming underneath my fingers. And then I let it go. I'm going to do it 2 more times. So I lift up through the pelvic floor. I hold on. I let go. And then I hold on again. And I can feel the firming here. Okay, so now that we know what we're doing, we're going to take another breath in. We're going to breathe out. And then we're going to just lift up through the pelvic floor, feel the toning, and then we're going to breathe comfortably. I'm still going to be lifting up through the pelvic floor, feeling that toning, and then we're going to let it go. Okay, so I hope that was easy for you. Sometimes whenever the muscle's quite weak, you don't feel an awful lot. But if you can feel a flicker, that's somewhere to start. Okay, so you want to feel a little bit of a flicker and make sure you let go and the flicker drops. And then see if you can do that again. It will take no time at all for you to just start getting that muscle working a little bit better. And the Pilates exercises will help to maximize that and also promote that. But we've talked about the rest position, neutral pelvis, and we've talked about the core muscles. So have a bit of a practice and then you can jump straight into day 1 and get going.